Have you ever heard of a man who was poisoned, shot multiple times, beaten, and still refused to die? This isn't a movie plot. It's the real story of Grigori Rasputin, the mad monk of Russia. His life and death are so bizarre, they sound like a myth. But how much of the legend is actually true? Let's uncover the mystery behind the man they couldn't kill. Born in the middle of nowhere in Siberia in 1869, Grigori Rasputin was just a peasant. He had no titles, no money, no connections. So how did he end up at the heart of the Russian Empire, whispering advice into the ears of the Tsar and Tsarina? His secret weapon was his reputation. People saw him as a mystic, a holy man, and a healer. By the early 1900s, his fame reached the royal family itself. Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra had a secret they were desperate to protect. Their son and heir, Alexei, suffered from hemophilia. This meant any small cut or bruise could be a death sentence. Doctors were powerless, but Rasputin, with his calm presence and strange prayers, seemed to be able to ease the boy's suffering and stop the bleeding. For a terrified mother like Alexandra, this was nothing short of a miracle. Rasputin became her savior, her confidant, and her most trusted advisor. But while the Tsarina saw a saint, others saw a devil. To the Russian nobility and the public, Rasputin was a corrupt, power-hungry peasant who had the royal family under his spell. As Russia stumbled through the disasters of World War I, suffering millions of casualties, people needed someone to blame. And they blamed Rasputin. They believed his influence over the Tsarina, who was running the country while the Tsar was at the front, was leading Russia to ruin. A group of powerful nobles decided enough was enough. Rasputin had to go. On the night of December 29, 1916, Rasputin was lured to a late-night party at the Grand Palace of Prince Felix Yusupov. The plan was simple: poison him. The conspirators served him cakes and wine laced with a massive dose of cyanide, enough to kill several men instantly. Rasputin ate the cakes, he drank the wine, and then nothing happened. He just kept talking, laughing, and asking for more. Hours ticked by. The conspirators were sweating, their plan falling apart. Frustrated and terrified, Prince Yusupov pulled out a revolver and shot Rasputin point-blank in the chest. Rasputin fell to the floor, and the men breathed a sigh of relief. It was done. Or so they thought. When Yusupov went back to check the body, the unthinkable happened. Rasputin's eyes flew open. With a roar, he jumped to his feet and lunged at his killer, trying to escape into the palace courtyard. Pandemonium broke out. The other conspirators rushed in, shooting Rasputin again, and again, and again. Even after being shot multiple times, he was still moving, still fighting. In a final, desperate act, they beat him brutally with a club, wrapped him in a heavy curtain, and drove his body to the icy Neva River. They threw him into a hole in the ice, certain that no one could survive that. When his body was finally found, an autopsy was performed. Rumors immediately started swirling that doctors found water in his lungs. This would mean he was still alive, still breathing, when he was thrown into the freezing river. While historians debate the truth of this detail, the story of his incredible resilience was sealed. He was Rasputin, the man who cheated death. Ironically, killing Rasputin didn't save Russia. In fact, it might have sealed the monarchy's fate. Less than 3 months later, the Russian Revolution began, and the 300-year-old Romanov dynasty came to a violent end. Rasputin's life was a whirlwind of faith, power, and scandal, but his death became a legend that has fascinated the world for over a century. A peasant who mesmerized an empire and died a death so extraordinary, it continues to blur the line between history and myth. What do you think? Was Rasputin a holy man with supernatural powers, or a clever charlatan who got caught in a political storm? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this dive into history's strangest stories, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more. See you next time.